A while back I mentioned that I would really have loved to see Arshdeep sing in the test conversation in the Indian cricket team. Well, now the BGT is well and truly underway, and day by day that statement becomes more and more true to me. Arshdeep should have been in Australia, and here's why. Interestingly enough, when I did post about this, the opinions of all of you, it was quite balanced. Half of you said, actually yes, and the other half, well, a big fat no, citing reasons such as, he's not experienced, doesn't have a good first-class record, can't hold a line and a length, or he's not even good in ODIs. My favourite one also, he is just too damn slow. Okay, let's get right to it then. If you look at his stats compared to Harshit Rana in the Dooley Trophy, yes, Rana's stats are better than Arshdeep's, but is it that much better that you would leave out a weapon that is a left-arm pacer? For me, I think no way. Secondly, India, they love basing their decisions on how Indian quicks perform in India. Looking at this 3 test match series against New Zealand, there is nothing to sing and dance about with those quicks and their performance, but yet each and every single one of them got a ticket to Australia down under to play in the BGT series. So here is the question. Should you base the potential, the strength, the ability of an Indian quick based on their performances in India? Or should we start looking at raw ingredients? He is a left arm quick. Look at what Stark has been doing. Even if Stark doesn't take wickets, there's a good chance that Scotty Boland or Pat Cummins is ranking them in on the other side. Partnership bowling. Having a right arm bowler and a left arm bowler, it's very difficult for a batter to settle, because you're literally dealing with different angles, you're dealing with different lengths and different pace. Well, we'll get to the pace. For me, the right arm quicks, barring obviously the best in the business, Bumrah, they have just been too predictable and they seem quite planless at times. What could solve that, you ask? I don't know. A left arm quick. If you don't have a left arm quick, why not bowl more around the wicket? Because you cannot just rock up at a test match and start thinking, okay, I'm going to start bowling around the wicket and now everything is going to flow like the River Nile. It doesn't work like that. Let's take a fantastic example. Stuart Broad, a legend of bowling around the wicket, but at the start of his career, this was not something that he really liked to do. Let's go to the Ashes 2015, just before Otis Gibson went up to Stuart Broad and he said, you know what, you averaged 25 against right-handed batters, but 37 against left-handed batters. And so the era of a destructive Broad against left-handed batters started. This is not something that you could just rock up doing. It took him more than a year, a couple of months even, before that Ashes tour to really hone in on that skill. And in the end, he was able to not just angle the ball into a left-handed batter, he also learned, like the great Freddie Flintoff, to actually bowl outswingers to left-handed batters, leaving the batters what? Guessing every single ball that came at them. Plenty of you have said, Arshdeep, but he doesn't really bowl that well in ODIs. You're looking at this small sample size and you look where his 2 best performances were. In South Africa, a 4-fer and a 5-fer. Now tell me he can't bowl in these kinds of conditions. And then of course there's the argument of pace. Analysts from India tell me he's a 135 km/h bowler. Who are other successful 135 km/h bowlers? Chris Wokes, whom I think might just be a little bit shorter than Arshdeep actually. And who else? In this series right now, Scotty Boland, a 135 km/h bowler. Remember, 135 in India is not like a 135 in South Africa or Australia. We have pacey wickets, so your 135 might look incredibly slow in India, but look what it is doing. Don't tell me Scotty Boland hasn't been very, very threatening in this series so far. All I'm saying is, the raw ingredients are there. Where were the Indian selectors 3-4 years ago when you could have already seen the potential of this lad to be a red ball man? Why was he not even in the matches against Australia A? Why? Because he was playing a bilateral series, T20, next World Cup is only in 2026. He was playing a T20 bilateral series against South Africa. While he probably should have been in those India A matches, because now you would have possibly, because I believe you would have done well, you could have had more options. Okay, it just feels to me like the priorities there were off, because that bilateral series, that was forgotten in 24 hours. This BGT is the most talked about test series in history. Okay, we are seeing crowds of 80, 90,000 people showing up to watch the biggest piece of cinema this year. I believe that Arshdeep could have been that missing ingredient, just that extra weapon in the Indian bowling lineup armory. I think India missed a trick. What do you think?